Good afternoon, members. You're all very welcome to the meeting of council for June, full council. I'm going to pass over to the Chief Executive for the notice and summons of the meeting and attendance and apologies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, members. To all members of Derry City and Strabane District Council, you're hereby summoned to attend the monthly meeting of the Council to be held remotely today, Thursday, 30th of June at 4 o'clock. Alderman Bresland.
Here, John.
Alderman Devaney.
Here, John.
Alderman Guy.
Here, John.
Alderman Hussey.
Online, John, thank you.
Alderman Carrigan. Alderman McCready. Alderman Ramsey. Alderman Thompson.
Here, John.
Alderman Wark.
Here, John.
Councillor Jason Barr.
Here, John.
Councillor Raymond Barr.
Here.
Councillor John Boyle.
Here.
Councillor Michaela Boyle. Councillor Carr.
Councillor Carr's having IT problems. He hopes to join us shortly.
Thank you. Councillor Cusick. Councillor Dobbins.
Here, John.
Councillor Donnelly.
And Shaw.
Councillor Doyle.
Here, John.
Councillor Duffy.
And Shaw.
Councillor Edwards.
And Shaw, John.
Councillor Farrell.
Here, and apologies from Councillor Cusack.
Thank you. Councillor Ferguson.
Here, John.
Councillor Fleming.
And Shaw, John.
Councillor Gallagher.
And Shaw, John.
Councillor Harkin.
Here.
Councillor Heaney.
And Shaw.
Councillor Jackson.
And Shaw, John.
Councillor Kelly.
And Shaw, John.
Councillor Logue.
And Shaw, John.
Councillor McGinley. Councillor McGowan.
Shaw, John.
Councillor McGuire. Councillor McHugh.
And Shaw, John.
Councillor McKeever. Councillor McKinney.
Here, John.
Councillor Mooney.
Here, John.
Councillor O'Neill.
Here, John.
Councillor Riley.
Here, John.
Councillor Sino Barr.
Here, John.
Councillor Tierney. Thank you, members. Just rolling back over a few that I may have missed. Alderman Carrigan. Alderman McCready.
I'm here, John. Alderman Kerrigan.
Thank you. Alderman McCready. Alderman Ramsey. Councillor Carr on yet? No. Councillor McGuire. And Councillor Tierney.
Councillor Tierney will be with us shortly.
Thank you. Thank you, members. Back to you, Mayor.
Thank you, John. So just to read the statement of remote meetings, I would like to remind everyone who is in remote attendance that this meeting will be broadcast live via the Council's YouTube channel and will be available for viewing by the public and media. The broadcast will also be available for repeated viewing at a later date. This broadcast may be terminated or suspended in accordance with Council protocol. Members and approved speakers are reminded to only have their mics and cameras on while speaking at the meeting and to use the chat facility to highlight a request to speak. By participating in this meeting, you're consenting to being filmed and to the use and storage of those images for broadcasting or training purposes and for the purpose of keeping historical records and making those records available to the public. A copy of the Council privacy notion can be found on the Council website. Okay, thank you, members. Just moving on to item 4, which is declarations of members' interest. If anyone has a declaration of interest, can they use the chat facility to declare that now or throughout the course of the meeting? So thank you. Moving on to chairperson's business. I have a number of items myself for chairperson's business, and then I have a number of people who have indicated to me that they wish to raise items. So I'll move through them. To begin with, I just want to welcome everyone to the meeting and just to lay out that I intend to be as fair as possible in terms of the meeting. We do have a lot of business to get through today, so I'm hoping that we can get through it in a timely manner. So just moving on then to the second item that I have, and it's in relation to the Thompson family who had the verdict of their inquest yesterday into their mother's death 51 years ago. I just want to put on record my commendation to the family for their strength, their courage and their tenacity over many, many years in their pursuit of truth following the murder of their mother. Their strength and determination has been inspirational to many other families. My thoughts are absolutely with them at this time. I won't go into any further detail in terms of legacy because I know that there is a motion before us later in the meeting, but I just want to put on record my commendation to the family, my solidarity. My second item for chairperson's business is just in terms of the Derry men's seniors team and congratulate them on their progress last weekend. And I really look forward to charting their progress all the way to Sam, as they say. The third item that I have is in relation to the Tyrone GAA hurling legend Damien Casey, who tragically died a number of weeks ago. I want to just send my condolences to the family, to the Tyrone GAA community and all the wider Tyrone family in relation to that. It was a terrible tragedy for them, considering his great highs in his hurling career. So that's all from me. Councillor Tierney, are you looking in relation to any of those items?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. And if my attendance, I was a wee bit late there logging on, if my attendance could be recorded as well, I would appreciate that. Just in relation to two of those issues, obviously wishing the Derry men's team all the best in the semi-final next weekend. But specifically, Mayor, in relation to the Thompson family and their verdict that they got yesterday, just also to join with you and send our support to them. I know it's been a long, hard fight for them. And when you think about what they suffered over the last 50 odd years, it's actually quite a significant day, not only for the Thompson family or for victims across the north, but for the people of Derry. They actually stand up and see once again that the people of this city have the strength to call out wrongdoing whenever it happens on our street. So just to join with you, Mayor, and send our solidarity to the Thompson family as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tierney. Councillor Edwards, are you looking in on this issue? Oh, sorry, Councillor Fleming first.
Thanking you, Mayor, and best wishes for your first meeting today. And again, just on behalf of Sinn Féin, we want to express our admiration and thanks to the family of Kathleen Thompson, who, as you have articulated, have for over 50 years been campaigning for truth and justice in regards to the murder of their mother in Craigan in 1971. And they have always done so with courage and dignity. And it does obviously give hope to other people in a similar situation. And we know many families are in that situation, and notwithstanding today's motion, that will give hope to each of them. And the Thompson family will continue to have our support as their campaign goes on.
Thank you, Councillor Fleming. Councillor Edwards.
Mayor, thanks for letting me in, and I also want to take this opportunity to wish you well in the term ahead. Mayor, in addition to you wishing Derry well in the Gaelic, I would also like to congratulate Science Swiss ladies within our council area who last night defeated Cliftonville to win the Premiership Ladies League Cup, which is a massive achievement especially for the wider village of St. Moses Strabane, Mayor. So I just wanted to put that on record, and thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards, and I think you got the jump there on Alderman Hussey, who has actually asked to raise that under chairperson's business. So I'll just, Rachel, before I bring you in, I'll see if Alderman Hussey wishes to speak now.
Thank you, Mayor. At least I went through the proper procedure, Mayor. As with others, to sincerely congratulate Cyan Mills Ladies and Girls Football Club and all involved with the club, because anyone involved in sport knows it's not just those on the pitch. It's the backroom team, the manager, all of that, and the support that they get within the community. It's a tremendous achievement. They have won the Northern Ireland Women's League Cup Championship and defeated one of the premier teams in Northern Ireland, namely Cliftonville, whom I know quite a lot about as well, with family connections to the late Dr. Kevin McGarry. It's a tremendous achievement, not just for Cyan, but given that, if you remember this day last week, we were considering the issue of women in sport. And this highlights what can be achieved when you have a group of people who come together with determination, and sincere congratulations to them on a tremendous achievement, not just for Cyan, not just for the Strabane end, but for all of Derry and Derry and Strabane District Council area. Thank you for the opportunity, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Hussey. Now, Councillor Ferguson.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to be associated with your comments towards the Thompson family and the outcome yesterday. I know Kathleen Thompson's family has fought really, really hard, and it's been a long journey for them. So I wanted to send Alliance's support to the family and extend our help in any way on this journey going forward. And well done to all the sport over the past couple of months. I think it's been a great testament to the skills that we do have within our city and district. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Councillor O'Neill.
Thanks, Mayor. And just to also be associated with your comments, People Before Profit want to add our support to the Thompson family and to commend their tireless campaign over the last 50 years. And it's just a shame that it's taken 50 years for a court to say what we all knew and what the Thompson family have been saying for 50 years. So, but it's good to see that this day has come, and also to say well done for the sporting achievements from the Derry GA team and also Cyan Swift women's soccer team. Shows you that the Northwest is really excelling when it comes to sport for men and women, and it's just great to see. So more of it. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor O'Neill. Moving on then to other councillors who have notified me. Councillor Donnelly, you wish to raise an issue?
Chair, and just to wish you add more on your incoming year. Look, just before I bring up my issue, I would just like to again join with you and express solidarity with the family of Kathleen Thompson and their quest for justice for the death, the murder of her mother, and express condolences to join with you in expressing condolences with Damien Casey. Mayor, my issue is regarding what's known locally as the Jun Horse Show. And this is an event that has been happening in this city for hundreds of years. It had been taking place in the Brandywell before the First World War, I'm led to believe. And before that, it happened in an area which is now known as Meaning Park, and before that, Bishop Street area. It's been happening for hundreds of years, and this event brought a lot of people together and was a boost to tourism and economy, and was also an educational focus for in particular young people. And in recent years it has run up against some difficulties with COVID and some other issues. So I was wondering if I could make a proposal, and it's just basically, and I have it here, I'll put it in the chat box now, that this council acknowledges the benefits brought to the city and district by what has been known locally as the Jun Horse Fair, which has been operating within the city for hundreds of years. Council will make a commitment to do all in its power and work closely with the organisers, ensuring future generations will benefit from its continuation and growth. So if you would permit me, I would like to make that short proposal.
Thank you. Councillor Donnelly, do you have a seconder?
Happy to second it, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Logue?
Thank you, Mayor. And I just want to wish you well too in your oncoming year. No, just on that, I have lived in the Grandville for well over 40 years now, and I've reared my family here. And the June Fair, as I knew, it was an event on the calendar that we all look forward to, and the children especially look forward to. There was a lot of people attended the June Fair, and the children really loved going around seeing all the animals, and sometimes being able to ride the horses, etc. But no, I fully support this motion, and hopefully that it will be able to keep going and come back bigger and better. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Alderman Devaney.
Thank you, Mayor, for letting me in. And look, Mayor, as far as DUP is concerned, we have no problem in supporting this notice of motion. A number of people from that horse fraternity have spoke to me regarding the horse fair, and there is a feeling that it's not going to happen. And as previous speakers have said, this has been going on for well over 100 years, and it's well documented within the city for that. And look, I would just ask that officers can go away and do what they can to try and ensure that this event does happen. It's a very important event for that horse fraternity and the family, and the benefits that comes with that. But Mayor, happy to support it.
Thank you, Alderman Devaney. Councillor Tierney.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to say that we're happy enough to support it as well. No issue whatsoever. I would make the point that it's not only the Brandywell, it attracts people from right across and further outside of this council district. So we have no issue in the officers going away and trying to work with the organisers to see what we can come up with, and let's hope that they can come up with something that ensures that the fair continues.
Thank you, Councillor Tierney. And I see Councillor Boyle doesn't want to speak now. So, Councillor McKinney.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. And for somebody that's beside a natural horse breeder, I fully support this motion. Our party fully supports it. It'll be great to see people coming back into the town, into the city, to experience the horse fair. Thank you.
Thank you. And I don't hear anybody speaking against the proposal from Councillor Donnelly. So can I take it that the proposal is fully supported, unanimous? Yep. Okay, thank you. And thank you, Councillor Donnelly, for raising the issue. Moving on to back to yourself, Councillor McKinney, if you want to raise your issue.
Thank you, Mayor, for letting me in. I am not too sure whether my other members are aware that there was 3 of us have actually requested that the lighting up of the buildings within the council in commemoration of the terrible atrocity which happened in Bosnia, Srebrenica, and I'm not sure if you're aware that on the 11th of July throughout Europe is declared the Remembering Srebrenica Day, where the rest of Europeans actually do celebrate it. Dan Kelly, myself, and Remembering Srebrenica have requested the lights be lit up on the 6th and 7th of July, and I believe you, Mayor, have agreed to this. You don't have a problem with it. Can I just say that back in the early 90s, whenever Yugoslavia was breaking up, I'm sure people remember this, David Dunseith, who was a Radio Ulster commentator, interviewed a Yugoslavian man, and if I can just read out what his remarks were about the breakup of Yugoslavia. He actually turned around and said, if we aren't careful, we will end up as bad as Northern Ireland. And that was back in 1990. And look what happened. And Madam Mayor, with your permission, can I just read a quick sort of a statement out from Camille Khan, who is the director of Remembering Srebrenica UK, which he sent to me. In July 1995, Bosnian Serb General Ratko Mladic, and I hope I said that right, and his forces seized the eastern Bosnian town of Srebrenica, which had been designated a safe zone in 1993. Over the following week, 8,372 Bosnian Muslim men and boys were murdered simply because they were Muslims. Miladovic's forces systematically separated men from boys as young as 12 years old from the women and took them away to be killed. And girls were subject to humane treatment and, in many cases, sexual violence. Rape was used to destabilise and terrorise the Muslim population throughout 1992 and 1995, which was declared as genocide. It is estimated that between 20,000 and 50,000 women were subject to sexual abuse in Bosnia during the genocide. So this, Mayor, is one of the reasons why we ask this not to be forgotten about. You know, I don't think people really, if they sit down and think about it, how close we in this small part of Europe came to that as well. So, I mean, maybe, Mayor, if Dan Kelly maybe would like to speak on it as well, because I know Dan raised it as well. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for letting me in.
Thank you, Councillor McKinney. And yes, I have agreed that Council buildings can be lit up on the 6th and 7th. Dan, if you're on, yep, Dan.
Mayor, and best wishes for the year ahead. Yes, as Phil was outlined, this year marks 27 years since the genocide at Srebrenica, in which over 8,000 Bosnian Muslim men and boys were systematically murdered in what has been described as the worst crime on European soil since the Second World War by the United Nations. During the days leading up to the Srebrenica Memorial Day, the 11th of July each year, communities stand in solidarity with the victims and survivors of the genocide and pledge to create a better, stronger and more cohesive society. And I remind members that a number of survivors of the genocide found refuge in our district. In tandem with Councillor McKinney, I want to pay tribute to the work of remembering Srebrenica jointly with our Council's Good Relations team for the work they have done to devise a programme of remembrance and solidarity to mark this year's commemoration on the 6th of July. And I encourage as many people as possible to show their support at those events. I also want to pay tribute to you, Mayor, for so gracefully and readily agreeing to a request to light up council buildings as a very visible expression of our civic solidarity with the people of Bosnia and Herzegovina at this time. So, Carmela Mugat.
Councillor Kelly, thank you for that. There's no further speakers on this issue, so I'll move on to the third item, which is Alderman Kerrigan.
Sorry, Mayor. Thank you for allowing me in, Mayor. Mayor, it's just in the process here of welcoming Alderman Drew Thompson in as a replacement for Alderman McClintock. And as well as that, Mayor, doing a bit of housekeeping here in regards to some committees. We have tidied up our working groups and the outside bodies there at previous council meetings, but it's in regards to there's 4 positions here which we're just tidying up here, and it will be replacing Alderman Wark with Alderman Thompson, and that is the Reserve Forces and Cadets Association, the PCSP, and then the following council committees being the Planning Committee and Governance and Strategic Planning. So that's it. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Kerrigan, and could I just join with you in welcoming Alderman Thompson back to council, and I look forward to working with you over the time ahead, Drew. The next item is from Councillor Dobbins.
Thank you, Mayor. And Mayor, I was really saddened to hear of the death of Deborah James, or Dame Deborah James, yesterday morning. Deborah James is affectionately known as Boyle Babe, and was such an inspiration that we can only admire her work and commitment to charitable campaigning, fundraising, and her endless efforts to raise awareness of cancer that touch so many lives and has actually saved lives, even those in Northern Ireland. And all this while she was suffering from bowel cancer herself. Deborah shared her experience with the world to raise that awareness. She broke down the barriers and she challenged taboos and changed the conversation around cancer. So much so that the word poo now is not laughed at or giggled at. You know, it is a serious thrust that she had put forward. Even in her most challenging moments, her determination to raise money and awareness was inspiring, and she raised millions. Only 3 months ago, we acknowledged the need to raise awareness here within Council for people with Crohn's and stoma wearers, people with hidden disabilities through emotion, which was unanimously supported. I would like to propose, Mayor, that we as a council pay tribute to Deborah and send condolences to her family. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Dobbins, for raising the issue, and absolutely nobody could fail to be touched by Deborah James's tireless and selfless campaigning in relation to the issue of bowel cancer and cancer in general. She was inspirational, and I think in terms of poo, the image of her dressed as a poo, doing fundraising and raising awareness it's iconic now at this stage. So absolutely, I would join with you in sending our condolences to her family at this time. Thank you, Angela, for raising that. The final item for chairperson's business comes from the city solicitor, Philip Kingston. So I'll pass over to Philip. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And members, you will have received shortly before the council meeting an email just explaining that we are required as a matter of urgency to enter into a license with the Department of Health and Western Health and Social Care Trust in order to facilitate access for our contractor in order to construct the Strathfoyle Greenway. It's come to us as a late matter, and it is a matter of urgency, members, but we'll be seeking authority just to enter into the draft license and the terms that have been sent out to members. Thank you.
Happy to propose, Mayor, if it requires one.
Happy to second, Mayor. Thank you. So that's Councillor Jackson proposing and Councillor Mooney seconding. Thank you.
Obliged.
Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is the confirmation of the open minutes of the meeting held on Thursday, the 26th of May, 2022. So I'll take us through it for accuracy to begin with.
So proposed, Alderman Devaney.
On accuracy, Mayor.
Yes, go ahead, Alderman Hussey.
Thank you, Mayor. At the risk of being pedantic, page 129, it's item 13C within the minutes of the last meeting. Comment that I hadn't. Well, maybe that's later on. I'm just saying. Sorry, Mayor. My apology. Yeah, it is later on. My apology.
Okay, Alderman Hussey, thank you. Any other matters for accuracy? No? Okay, could I get a proposer and seconder for the minutes?
So proposed, Alderman Devaney, Mayor.
I second them.
Thank you, Alderman Bresson. Any matters arising? Alderman Hussey. Councillor Kelly first, sorry.
Colonel Mary, this is in relation to minute 199, or sorry, C199 on page 6. Mary, it's in relation to the paper on public toilets that was presented to the committee. I'm requesting an update paper on the section on the Murlock proposal is brought to the next available meeting of the committee for consideration. And that's because I'm conscious a number of issues were not considered by members in respect of that site and under advisement. I think this will be the most expeditious way of bringing those back before members for consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kelly. That'll be actioned. Alderman Hussey, you have a number of items there.
Thank you, Mayor, and apologies for the earlier inaccuracy. C200 on page 6, the off-street parking. Just a quick question on that. We did have the update reference car parks. Is there any indication of timeline on the identified car parks that will be addressed?
Sorry, is Stephen on the line?
Yeah, Chair, happy to come in. I mean, there was a paper in the paper that went to Business and Culture, which is part of the minutes. There was a Gantt chart with a timeline on it, and that's the timeline that we're working to, Alderman Hussey.
And as with the follow-up to that, are we on the timeline?
Yeah, it was only presented a few weeks ago, so yeah, there's nothing, no wheels off buses yet.
That's good. Appreciate that, Mayor. Do you want me to move just to the other two?
Yes, Alderman Hussey.
C210 was the issue reference to the NAC, and a communication I understand has been received from NAC since that particular meeting. It's on page 11 if anybody wants to check it. So I want to propose that the NAC be invited to make a presentation to Council, reference their representations on our behalf.
Have you a seconder for that proposal?
I'll second it.
Is that Alderman Gay?
Yes, it is, Mayor. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. No. Thank you. I wasn't sure. I could just hear a voice. Thank you. Okay. Does anyone wish to speak on that, or are we happy enough to take that proposal?
It's in the chat box, Mayor.
Yeah. Okay. No further speakers on it, so I'll assume people are happy enough to take it. Alderman Hussey, if you want to move on to your next item.
The third item matters arising is C227 with regard to the Irish Passport Office, page 32. The decision was taken to write to the Irish Passport Office reference concerns about delays and backlogs, etc. I don't know about others, but I'm certainly experiencing the same with regard to the United Kingdom Passport Office. So I want to propose that Council also write to the UK Passport Office expressing concern at current backlog and delays.
Okay, Alderman Mark seconded that. Happy to take that as well, so it's just a letter. Everyone happy enough to accept that?
Do you want it in the chat box?
No, I mean, it's just a letter. Yeah. Okay, Alderman Hussey, thank you. Any other matters arising from these minutes? Okay, moving on then to the open minutes of the special meeting of Council on Monday, the 23rd of May at 2 p.m. Could I get a proposer and seconder for accuracy?
I'll propose it.
And I'll second it, Chair, or Mayor Alderman Devaney.
Thank you. Any matters arising from it?
Mayor, could I come in there? Sorry, I didn't get it on the chat box here.
Yes, Darren, go ahead.
This is item 8, isn't it? Yep. Yeah.
8? Yeah.
Yeah. It's in regards to the Freedom of the City Award. And I think that Council should, it's not directed at this one, but I do believe that it's time for Council to convene a meeting of the appropriate working group to establish an orderly way of nominating a candidate for such a prestigious award. Recently, we have seen such nominations appear through Council motions, which is fair enough, but this puts pressure on members to accept the nomination. I feel these nominations should be discussed in private first, and certainly not through the media, or in the most recent case where I was made aware of the nomination on social media. we're all members here. If we have better lines of communications than that. I know that my colleague Alderman McCready did bring this up a couple of months ago, but there's been no movement on it since. And I have always, and this is one for yourself, Mayor, to get involved in, I've always believed that a special mayoral award should be presented to both a male and female who have taken on or achieved a great feat during the mayor's term of office. These options need revisited. So I have a proposal, Mayor, and if you just want to go ahead, I'll just put it in the box. And it's basically that this council reconvenes the appropriate working group to set out a more appropriate, deliberate way to all on how the bestowing of the freedom of the city on any worthy candidate should be conducted from its inception. It hasn't been actioned, and that was over 2 months ago. Alderman McCready asked for it, so I'm going to put it in the chat box. Or if you're happy again, just to put that through. It's up to yourself there, Mayor.
Could you just put it in the chat box, Alderman Guy, and I'll bring in Councillor Farrell.
Well, indeed, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. It's just a matter of accuracy. Item 8 was about conferring the freedom of the city onto Danny Quigley, but the minutes relate specifically to Pat McManus, and it's the same for item 9. So there's an element of inaccuracy there that should be addressed. Thank you.
That's pretty inaccurate. All right, Mayor.
Yeah, Councillor Farrell, I actually noted that when I first read the minutes, so I should have noted that myself. But absolutely, yeah, there is a mistake that has obviously been made there. That need to be rectified. Councillor Tierney.
Yeah, Mayor, thank you for bringing me in. I was going to raise the point that Councillor Farrell has raised, but obviously we'll get that looked at. But in relation to the proposal from Alderman Guy, we have no issue in supporting that at all. Whatever process that this council wants to put in place, where we always have and we will continue to abide by. So let's see what we can come up with. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tierney, and the proposal has been seconded by Alderman Hussey. I don't think that I actually do need it in the chat box. It is just reconvening the working group that has already been established. So I think we can just go ahead with that. Okay, thank you, Alderman Guy. Moving on now to item 9 in terms of accuracy, and it's the same issue, Councillor Farrell, in terms of the accuracy there. Any other issues of accuracy? Could I get a proposer and seconder? Proposer and seconder?
Chair, or Mayor, I'll propose that that those papers are brought to a future meeting of council.
Yeah. Defer, yeah, defer. We'll defer those because they are inaccurate. Okay, thank you, Councillor Jackson. Could we get a seconder just to keep this right in relation to that?
I'll second that, Councillor Farrell.
Thank you, Councillor Farrell. Item 10 now, which is the open minutes of the AGM on Monday the 6th of June. Could I get a proposer and seconder for accuracy?
So proposed, Alderman Devaney.
Thank you.
I'll second them, Mayor. John Boyle.
Thank you, Councillor Boyle. Alderman Guy, are you looking in under matters arising?
I am, thank you, Mayor. It's page 63, and it's just a change between, I'd like to remove Alderman McCready from GSP and replace him with Alderman Hussey as Deputy Chair, and then move put Alderman McCready to Business and Culture Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Guy. Any other matters arising? Okay, item 11, which is the open minutes of the special meeting held on Wednesday, the 22nd of June. Could I get a proposer and seconder for accuracy in relation to these minutes?
So proposed, Alderman Devaney.
Okay. Seconder? Anyone going to second?
Yeah, I second those, Mayor. John Boyle.
Thank you, Councillor Boyd. Any matters arising? Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Mayor, and good luck for the incoming year, of course. Just on the appointment of members to internal bodies, there was a comment just with regards that Councillor Tierney had brought forward, and he's right to do so, about internal working groups that, for example, might not have met in a while. But it's just to raise as well that, for example, there were some external groups as well that members were put onto in the last year that never met. And I was on one of them. And I don't think anybody who was nominated, the group in particular, was ever invited to come to any meetings. But just in relation to the mental health working group, there's a point really of accuracy there. It was mentioned that the group was there to respond to the mental health strategy consultation at the time. It was my motion, actually. What it was to respond to that and to monitor its implementation. I still think that's relevant. I know there's going to be a paper brought back with regards to how we move forward on that, but certainly I do think that council areas such as ours should always have some sort of working group focused on mental health, and I just wanted to flag that up. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Doyle. Any other matters arising?
I'm the chat box here, Mayor.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Councillor Bart.
It's just in relation to the Good Relations Working Group, Mayor. I would like to nominate Alderman Warwick to replace me on that.
Thank you, Councillor Barr. No more matters arising. I'll move on to item 12, which is the open minutes of the special meeting held on Thursday, the 23rd of June. A proposer for accuracy.
So proposed, Mayor Alderman Devaney.
Seconder. A seconder, anybody out there?
I'll second them, Mayor Christopher.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Any matters arising? No. Okay, moving on to item 13A, which is the open minutes of the Business and Culture Committee held on the 24th of May. So if I can have a proposer and seconder for accuracy.
Proposed, Councillor Farrell.
Thank you.
Seconded, Alderman Devaney.
Thank you. Matters arising? Okay, no matters arising. Moving on to 13B, the open minutes of the special meeting of Health and Communities held on Wednesday, the 1st of June. Could I get a proposer and seconder for these minutes?
So proposed, Alderman Devaney.
Seconded, Brian Tierney.
Thank you. And matters arising, I bring in Councillor O'Neill first. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And it's just following that presentation from the WRDA. One of the key points from the research and things that they've done was around reproductive health care and access to that. And I think, on the back of that, the overturning of Roe v. Wade, there's been absolute devastation and a shockwave, I think, among women across the world. And we've seen, hundreds of thousands of people out protesting, and here locally we had protests yesterday in Derry, in Dublin, and Belfast, and Portstewart. And I think it's a real step backwards in the women's rights movement. I think we can never take our rights for granted, but I think this just shows you how how that is so true. And I think whenever we think of this decision, it's going to be the poorest that are going to be hit hardest in this. A lack of access to abortion doesn't impact the wealthy in the same way. And I think, we need to, give our solidarity and show our solidarity with people across the United States. But, I think, here the struggle is not over also. We have decriminalisation. It'll be 3 years this year, but we still do not have access to services, and that is particularly true in the Western Trust. And whenever we campaign for decriminalisation, we campaign for safe access, safe and free and local abortion healthcare, and we still do not have that here. And I think it was a real insult to the women's rights campaign here in the north, given this denial of services, that Robin Swan received the Politician of the Year award, whenever during a pandemic, women and pregnant people still had to travel to access this healthcare that should have been commissioned. And I think it was a real salt in the wound. But I think we need to get over that devastation. We need to continue to campaign and send our solidarity and do what we can to ensure people here and across the world have that safe local access to abortion services. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Neill. Councillor Ferguson.
Thank you, Mayor. And I just wanted to have my voice added to Councillor O'Neill when it comes to the decision of reversing Roe v. Wade. And we have seen an outcry from women across the world globally. And Councillor O'Neill is right in what she says. The fact that we here within the Western Trust haven't have access to safe, legal, local abortion services is awful. I am afraid of what the future brings, and I'm afraid with the current dynamic where they're saying there's a lot of the same lobbyist groups now funding certain groups within our own government and within our own legislative processes. So I wanted to put my apologies for not being able to make the protest yesterday, but I look forward to standing together with many women here who want their body to be their choice. But thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Mayor. It'll be no surprise that I don't agree with the previous two comments, though I respect where they're coming from. We've been told, as a pro-lifer, I've been told, for the last number of years, and especially when the campaign to repeal the 8th took place in the South, that we have to respect the rule of law. It's a law now, get on with it. I didn't think that was a terribly nuanced way for anyone to put forward such an argument. But now we're faced with the entirely legal aspect of the Supreme Court in the United States making a ruling, and regardless of the strongly held views on both sides, the reality is now that states will have to make their own decision across the water. I don't believe, and I never have believed, that abortion is healthcare. It isn't. There is no such thing as a safe abortion, because at the end of the day, a human being always dies. And we can have protests here all we like, but what it comes down to is if we're going to respect the democratic mandate of people in the United States, then the Supreme Court has spoken, and that's where we're at. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Doyle. Councillor Jackson.
Good Mayor, and I suppose just to give our party's position on it, that the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe versus Wade was a bad day for women, and the decision was it was depressing and worrying, but it won't detract from the long campaign for a rights-based society, whether it's here on these islands or whether it's across the Atlantic in America. The fight for women's healthcare rights will continue, and as a party, we fully support that campaign and stand full square beside anybody who is fighting for the rights of anybody, and in terms of, and particularly in terms of healthcare. So I just want to, I think it's only right that Councillor O'Neill has raised it today, and we fully support any campaign going forward that promotes rights for anybody in our society. Garmilgut, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. And Councillor Harkin.
Thank you, Mayor, for letting us in. And I'll be very brief because sometimes on women's issues, it shouldn't have to be women that are speaking out on this. And I just want to add my voice in support of what Maeve, Rachel and Chris have just said, because look, there's still a pro-choice majority in the United States. And the reality is this Supreme Court decision is the fruit of Trump's 4 years of being president of the United States. And this is why people have gotten rid of him. But unfortunately, his legacy is there right now on that Supreme Court because of the appointees that he put on there. And I think that this is a non-democratic decision. I think it'll be challenged by people right across the United States, as it already is, who have had established this in the 70s as part of a women's liberation movement. And I think that the slogan that I'm seeing coming out of the United States is, we are not going to go back, because the reality is, whether it's illegal or illegal, women and pregnant people are going to have abortions. And that's the whole point of saying it is healthcare. And it's not about saying, if you disagree with it, that you then have to do it yourself, because that's the whole point of pro-choice. Pro-choice is not saying you're either for or against, but it's giving people, especially women, who've often been denied the right to decide what to do with their own bodies, and who've been considered second-class citizens or inferior to men, the right to decide what happens to them. So you don't have to agree with people with what people do. It's about giving people the right or the choice to make that decision themselves. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Harkin and Councillor Tierney. Last speaker on this issue.
Thank you, Mayor. And just before I make a comment on the wider issue, can I just ask, was there a proposal made? Because if there was, I have missed it. No, okay, thank you. And just to point out, obviously, our party have a conscience clause on this, so I'm speaking on my own behalf. And if other members wish to speak and make their point of view, they're welcome to do so. I think the decision by the Supreme Court was wrong. I expect wholeheartedly that it will be challenged either in whatever way it can be across the US. But I think, Councillor Harkin is right, and what he's saying around the pro-choice side of this. Pro-choice, in my view, does not make you pro-abortion. It makes you and allows women to have an opportunity to choose what they want to do with their body, and that's what I think should happen. Personally, I don't think that I would choose abortion, but that's entirely up to the other people's choice. I don't think you can allow people to choose not, but then equally not allow people to choose to. I think that's just hypocritical in its own sense. But I'm happy to continue on. I'm just double checking that there wasn't a proposal. There's not. And as I want to make clear, my comments are from my own perspective and not on behalf of other members of the SDLP on this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tierney, and you're the last speaker on the subject. But I just want to put on record my own, and anyone that knows me will know my own devastation at hearing the ruling. Absolutely, the erosion of women's rights is wrong, and we need to resist in every way that we possibly can. But I digress. Moving on to item 13C, the monthly governance and strategic planning meeting held on Tuesday, the 7th of June. Could I get a proposer and seconder for accuracy? Sorry, Alderman Hussey. Thank you, Alderman Breslin, but I have Alderman Hussey in the chat box there for an issue. Go ahead.
Thank you. As I said at the beginning when I come in too early, Mayor, some may regard it as a pedantic issue. But TSP 106 on page 129, third paragraph, last sentence, reads as follows, and it was myself speaking. Hardship faced by many of his constituents was a lack of access. Anyone who knows me knows that I do not use the term constituent because it is inaccurate. We do not represent constituents. We don't have a constituency. We represent electors. And actually, the terminology that I used was folk that I represent. So I would either want it constituent replaced with that or with the proper word, which is electors. Thank you, Mayor. I'm sorry if it's pedantic, but that is the accurate point. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Hussey, and I have heard you make that point before, so that is noted. Could I get a seconder now for accuracy, as I have Alderman Breslin proposing?
I'll second Alderman Devaney.
Thank you, Alderman Devaney. Any matters arising from the minutes? Councillor Harkin?
Thanks, Mayor, for letting me in. Yeah, look, we had a discussion about the free ports or innovation zones, as it's called there, and I following that discussion, because it was reported in the press and on social media, a number of people from different organisations in Strathfoyle and Maydown contacted me, and individuals concerned about their input into these discussions. And I just wanted to raise that you know, the Ben Cave report that was done, the health input study, was hard fought for by campaigning groups there in relation to the port and so on. And I know that the Foyle Port commissioners have been able to look at these proposals, and we have as councillors. And I just want to make sure that you know, the residents of the area and campaigning groups are included in these discussions, because I think that they should be, and that the findings in terms of the guidance around development there from the Cave report, that be included in the discussions about these different proposals. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Harkin, that your comments are noted there. And Councillor Ferguson, I note your declaration of interest. Any other matters arising? No. Okay, moving on then to item 13D, which is the monthly planning committee held on Wednesday, the 8th of June. Could I get a proposer and secretary? Sorry, Councillor Jackson, are you looking in the previous item?
Yeah, I was, but you've moved on. It's okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you.
Proposed.
Proposed Councillor Boyd, was that?
Seconded.
I'll second that.
I'll second it.
Councillor Maguire proposed.
Councillor Maguire proposed, Councillor McKinney seconded. Thank you. So any matters arising from the planning minutes? No. Moving on then to the reconvened planning meeting held on Thursday, the 9th of June. Could I get a proposer and seconder for accuracy in relation to this?
Opposed, Mayor. Well,
John Boyd proposed, Councillor
All
Mooney
minute.
seconded. Yeah, thank you. Any matters arising? Okay, moving on to the monthly business and culture committee held on Tuesday, the 14th of June. Could I get a proposer and seconder for accuracy?
Proposed, Jason Barr.
Thank you. Seconded.
Seconded Alderman Devaney.
Thank you. And matters arising, I have Councillor Gallagher in the chat box.
Thank you, Mayor. It's just around the Strabane retail site, and council writing to Leyden, and was very much emphasised that there was an urgency here around the timing of this. And I'm wondering, is there any feedback from the letter that council has wrote?
Stephen, if you're still on the call, has there been an update?
I'm happy to come in, Mayor. We've had a reply back from New Look. Unfortunately, the individual we wanted to speak to, as a matter of urgency, is on annual leave until Monday. So we have a call booked with him on Monday to get a meeting as soon as possible, early next week. And in terms of Lidl, we've had discussions with Lidl, and they feel that they have given as much leeway as they can, and they have a tight timetable in terms of their development. So there may not be an option there in terms of extending the lease, but we will be chasing New Look very early next week.
Thank you, Stephen, for that update. Any other matters arising?
Just sorry on that matter. Would
Yeah.
it be possible, Stephen, if you could send out all the members a correspondence to that effect?
Yep, no problem. I'm happy to send that letter out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Any matters arising? Thank you, Alderman Moody, and Alderman Work.
Just 2 seconds, they find it here. Where? BC 102/22. Obviously, Mayor, you were at the event there on Sunday night, and it's obviously about worldwide events coming on, and council obviously own the St. Collins Park venue, and as we all know, that with the executive, we're only allowed 5 events now in Everton Square. Now, if we're looking to bring world class events, musicians to the city and to cater for everybody, the district. We obviously want a good venue. Now, St. Collins Park down at the track obviously wasn't set up for this, and I know we had a bit of rain on Sunday, but with the track, it was absolute mud bath. And like the credit goes to the promoters that night. They brought a world class musician over, and done it the best they could. But council needs to look really hard at this venue. If we're going to have these events brought to the city, we wanted a good location, and the track just doesn't cut it. We have had week after week events held there, and it's just a complete mud bath at the minute. Now, I would just ask if there could be something brought forward the next B&C committee on this, or officers they look at this venue, and being on the visitatory board now, ask the hotelers about, obviously any of the events coming in, their hotels are falling out. So obviously this is booming economy. We have a lot of people from the city and district traveling. They Dublin, they Belfast. We want this here a best location. We want world-class events, musicians brought on here, but we need this here brought up these standards. So we do, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Mark, and yeah, we can explore our options for venues. Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Mayor, and just following on from Graham's comments, it would do no harm as well. I've had a number of people come to me with, unfortunately, with complaints around the security and around the event that took place in St. Collins Park. I'm told, for example, and I know the rain was awful, that people were told that they weren't allowed to bring, for example, umbrellas into the site. And I think that might have contributed to some of the issues that Graham's talking about. So I'm wondering if and when that report is brought back, if maybe our licensing officers could liaise with the security company to find out if there were any issues, because I know these things were raised with them at the site, to see what we might be able to do going forward in future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Doyle. Councillor Mooney.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, Mayor, for letting me in. Just on a side issue in relation to the track, I've been contacted by local users of the track, namely sort of running groups and things like that. But after Sunday's incident, the track seems to be well cut up, and I was wondering, is there any possibility that some remedial works or action can be taken to try and put good the track for local users who would actually regularly use the track? If that's okay, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mooney. And as Alderman Mark alluded to, I was there on Sunday night, and it was a great night, but it was wet in the early part of it, so the running track was quite muddy. I don't know if the umbrella issue contributed to it. There was rain, and I think it's pretty standard, no matter what venue, that umbrellas don't go on because of the danger that they might pose. But if Karen McFarlane's on the call, maybe she could give us an update and maybe the remedial work to the running track. Stephen, maybe if you're on the call, do you know if any remedial work has been done on the track?
Mayor, it's Barry here. I'm
Barry.
on the call. Yep. Just for members' information, yeah, we have any event bookers, we do ask them to cover the football pitch and to provide risk assessments, how they're going to make good, and it will be responsibility of event promoters if there's any work that needs done. So we've already had meetings on site with the event promoter to outline some of our concerns in the pitch and track. So we will be getting our grounds maintenance team down to do the remedial works, and the bill or the event promoter will be sorting that bill. But Stephen's directed. We've had discussions around this. While it's fantastic location, members, it is also a football pitch and a running track, and we may need to look at purchasing some protective material and then charging out to event promoters for each big event. So that's something we'll be looking at going forward. And we've also to balance the number of football games and bookings that we have to cancel at the site as well. But look, that'll all be ongoing, Mayor.
Thank you, Barry, for the update. Any further matters arising? Nope. Okay, moving on to the Multi-Environment Regeneration meeting held on Wednesday, the 15th of June. If I could get a proposer and seconder for that.
No proposed, Alderman Devaney.
Thank you.
Seconded, Councillor McHugh.
Thank you. And any matters arising? Alderman Hussey. Alderman Hussey, are you there?
Apology, it's ER 133 on page 174. The former recycling site at Carricklee, Councillor Edwards had referred to the potential of that site and the development of facilities, etc. there. Myself and Councillor McHugh were at the Sports Committee yesterday, and some interesting information with regard to be below the surface at the former Spalmount dump and the issues that could present with regard to, it was hoped, that there would be development at the Spalmount site, but that could be curtailed because of the substrata that's involved there and the previous use as a dump site, and prevent development of facilities at Spalmount. Would the same thing apply with regard to the Carricklee site? Reference the suggestions from Councillor Edwards. I'm sure officers are aware of the exact situation that I'm there. I have a second issue, but I'll leave that for a moment.
I'll see if Karen Phillips is on the call.
Chair, through you, members, yes, we are aware of the former use of Carricklee, and indeed some high level scoping had been done a few years ago, and also we had been liaising with DFI in relation to the location of the A5, etc. But we will relook at that and we'll bring a further report into members which will cover all of those issues. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And Alderman Hussey, your second issue?
Thanks for that, Karen. Thank you, Mayor. Same page, item 135. I'm being a bit cheeky here. It's just to ask within waste prevention, is there any indication of when the final rollout of the brown bin provision will be completed with regard to waste prevention? Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Hussey. Karen, have you an
Yeah,
update
Chair,
on
I
that?
haven't got an update here at the minute, but I will ensure that Conor brings an update to July's ENR committee. Thank you.
Really appreciate it, Karen. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Any other matters arising from ENR? No. Moving on then to the monthly Health and Communities Committee held on Thursday, the 16th of June. If I could get a proposer and seconder for accuracy.
No proposed, Alderman Devaney.
Thank you. Seconder.
Councillor Farrell.
Thank you, Councillor Farrell. And any matters arising? Councillor Logue, I believe you have an issue. Yeah. Go ahead, Patricia.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I want to raise an issue under HC 158, and it is regarding the Ryan McBride Foundation not being able to access pitches for their summer scheme. And while I they fully understand the booking system, I think it is quite a shame that the Ryan McBride Foundation cannot on this occasion access the Ryan McBride Brandywell Stadium. So I would be requesting that council officers look to the future regarding this matter and that they liaise with the foundation to ensure that this situation does not arise again. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Barry, would you wish to comment?
Yeah, Mayor, I can come in if you want. I've just have a wee bit of detail around it. There were a couple of bookings, so we actually were taking a booking from the foundation at the Brandywell, but we had to change it to Brook Park because of Derry City Football Club's European match, and UEFA required access to the facility at that time. So the foundation were quite understanding around that. We do have confirmed the 25th and 26th of July. However, the 27th we couldn't provide because there was an existing booking through the open call, and we have confirmed the 15th to the 17th of August. Those bookings are all confirmed. I do appreciate Patricia's point there. We do give a priority to Derry City Football Club and Institute because their bookings, their league insists that they have priority bookings, and as part of their league criteria. So they're the only clubs that do get a priority booking. But when we do the open call around pitches or the stadium, if you are local to the area, you would get a priority. So we will look at that for the Brandywell next year. But the one thing in our booking policy is if you have a higher criteria for league and you need that facility to participate in your league, you do get priority bookings. But yeah, as Patricia said, we will look at that, but we are providing bookings over the summer to them.
Thank you, Barry, for the update. Alderman Hussey.
Thank you, Mayor. On HC 149, the allocations from the health and community budgets, with particular regard to the allocations towards our various community centres. Now, it's not to run down any of the allocations that have been awarded, to, for example, to the likes of Pilot Row. I think it's in the region of 120, 125k or whatever. But if I take that figure, the 10 community hubs or centres in the rural area are receiving 12,000 each. So Pilot Row is receiving more than those community hubs out in the rural areas. Now, later on in that particular meeting, we had a proposal or not, a motion referenced against the static funding that advice centres have received since 2015. It's my understanding that the allocation to the rural community centres has been static since the turn of the millennium. You're talking back to 2002, 2003, something like that. In some areas, I know there were differentials in the previous constituting councils, but given the current situation that all of our centres are facing, not just these ones that I'm referring to, I would suggest that it's time we had a review of how we are supporting these vital hubs in the rural area, and indeed those in the urban area. I'm not decrying funding going to them in any way, but I think we also have to be mindful of considerable funds that go into the urban areas, particularly via neighbourhood renewal. So I'm asking, would it be possible to have a review of how we are funding our community centres, be they council owned or be they other, and that we're supporting, because these provide essential services to certain parts of our district that cannot be reached by normal council facilities. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Hussey. And just Barry, you're on the call if you wanted to comment on anything that Alderman Hussey was saying.
Yeah, on the second question, yeah, the officer team have ramped up support considerably to our community centres in recent months. just due to the uncertainty and the rising costs, members will be aware that we're out for a venue fund that is primarily focused on our community centres, particularly our rural community centres, and they get the maximum award. So I do think, you know, that fund has remained static for a number of years, members. So look, if in light of rising costs, this is a 1-year programme. If members do want to consider additional funding, we can definitely look at the criteria, but it would need a rates investment, an additional rates investment to go into that programme, which is, as I say, primarily focused on our rural community centres.
Mayor, I appreciate the response from Barry there. And could we have a report perhaps brought back to the relevant committee as to how this can be expedited going forward? Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Hussey, and maybe it's something that the financial working group could consider as well. Thank you. Any other matters arising from the Health and Communities Committee? Nope. Okay, moving on then to the bi-monthly Assurance Audit and Risk Committee held on Monday, the 20th of June. Could I get a proposer and seconder for accuracy in relation to this?
Proposed, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor
I'll
Doherty.
second, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Logue. And any matters arising from the minutes? No, no matters arising. Okay, that concludes the open minutes of our monthly meetings. So if we move into confidential, if you just give us a second.